Have you ever lain awake at night, long after the world around you has gone still? Your mind racing with everything you thought would have happened by now? The job, the relationship, the child, the peace. Night had fallen, but Hannah was still awake. The house around her slept, yet her thoughts whispered questions she dared not speak aloud. Somewhere nearby, children breathed evenly, their small voices lost to dreams. She listened to that rhythm, steady, sure, and complete, and felt the distance between sound and silence. Her hands rested flat against a body that had carried nothing but hope unfulfilled. She did not cry loudly, not anymore. She had learned how to grieve quietly so the world could still call her strong. By morning, no one would see the weight she carried. Have you ever smiled so others would not suspect you were breaking? At first light, Hannah rose as always. She washed, she dressed. She moved with care through small, familiar rituals, the kind that make ordinary days look faithful. Her steps were steady. Her tone was measured. She had built a life people could admire, even envy. Elkanah loved her deeply. His affection was steady, public, and sincere, but love, however genuine, could not erase a sense of failure when life measures value by visible success. The child in your arms, the promotion on your resume, the proof you have arrived. And Hannah had none of it. In her home, another woman's laughter echoed through the hallways. Peninnah's laughter, the kind that lives close to pride, thick with the ease of fruitfulness and abundance. Her children ran freely, leaving trails of joy behind them. Her life looked like all the goals checked off another woman's list. Hannah did not need Peninnah's words to feel the gap, but Peninnah offered them anyway. Gentle enough to sound polite, sharp enough to slice deep. Hannah, she would say with a smile, perhaps next year. You have probably met that smile too. The one that turns pity into performance. The one that hides envy behind kindness. Hannah said nothing. Silence, she had learned, was safer than reaction. Each slight she swallowed, each comparison she endured. Because sometimes defending yourself only feeds the narrative that you have lost control. What others called weakness was really wisdom. What they saw as surrender was endurance shaped by years of surviving what could not yet change. Endurance, however, has its price. Every year, the journey to Shiloh returned like a corporate event she could not decline. A gathering where everyone brings proof of progress and she arrives with empty hands. Families traveled together, laughter spilling across the air. Songs of gratitude rose loudly, songs about blessing, increase, and favor. Hannah walked among them, her eyes downcast, carrying both her offering to God and her quiet ache that no one else named aloud. That year, even the road felt heavier. You know that kind of year, when every reminder of someone else's joy feels like a spotlight on your delay. When they reached Shiloh and night settled, Hannah lay awake again. The sounds of stability and success hummed around her, laughter breathing. The low murmur of family life continuing uninterrupted. She whispered into the dark, "Lord, how long?" No answer came. There is a particular ache in unanswered prayers, the kind that tests not what you believe, but how long you can believe without proof. She remembered the stories, Sarah, Rachel, women who waited long too. Not fairy tales, but testimonies of those who held faith together with trembling hands. She clung to them not because they promised timelines, but because they proved that delay did not equal dismissal. Faith for Hannah was quiet. Maybe yours is too. Not loud worship or bold declarations, but the decision to wake, to work, and to hope again after disappointment. Morning came, and with it, familiar eyes of concern. "Hannah," Elkanah said gently, "why do you weep? Am I not more to you than 10 sons?" His kindness was real, his understanding limited, Love could not fill the spaces designed for personal purpose. And when Peninnah whispered again, "Some of us are favored," that small, brittle thread holding Hannah's composure snapped. Not explosively, quietly. The kind of breaking that looks like stillness but feels like collapse. Hannah rose and walked away beyond the chatter, beyond the laughter, until she reached the temple, the place where prayers turn into confessions. Inside, the lamps flickered like fragile endurance. Shadows stretched along the stone pillars. Eli the priest watched her from a distance. Hannah fell to her knees. Words failed entirely. There were no memorized verses left, no polished spiritual language, only tears, heavy and uncontainable. She prayed without sound, and heaven felt silent still. "Lord Almighty," she whispered inside, "see me, remember me." It was not a perfect prayer, just an honest one. The kind you pray when you cannot fake composure anymore. From a distance, Eli misread her pain. "How long will you stay drunk?" he scolded. "Put away your wine." The words pierced deep because nothing hurts like being misjudged when you are already running on empty. You may know that too. Speaking from your soul and being told you are mistaken. But Hannah lifted her face, steady though trembling. "No, my lord," she said. "I am a woman deeply troubled. I have been pouring out my soul before the Lord." Her honesty shifted the atmosphere. Eli's gaze softened. "Go in peace," he said. "May the God of Israel grant you what you have asked." That was not an answer, but it was enough. Sometimes peace is all you get before proof. Hannah rose from the floor lighter than she had been in years. Nothing around her had changed. Her body was the same. Her status is unchanged. But her spirit exhaled for the first time in a long while. Maybe you know this feeling too. When the circumstances remain but the weight inside finally loosens. Time passed quietly. Then slowly, imperceptibly, hope began to take form. Hannah's body changed. Her spirit, once bruised, softened into awe, and when the child was born, she named him Samuel. "Because I asked the Lord for him." In his small heartbeat, she heard the echo of every silent night, every unanswered prayer, every whispered "how long" turned into an arrival. But she had not forgotten her vow. This blessing was not hers to hoard. She understood now. Some gifts are given not just to fill emptiness, but to be surrendered for something larger. So Hannah held her son close, and her story, her long story of pain and patience, faith and misunderstanding, became more than survival. It became testimony. And maybe if you look closely at your own journey, the unfulfilled goals, the losses you do not talk about, and the prayers that seem ignored, you will find Hannah there too. Because her story is not only ancient, it is yours. Hannah held Samuel close as the days passed, aware that every moment carried meaning. She nursed him. She soothed him. She watched his small features take shape. And maybe you know this feeling too. When joy finally arrives, yet you hold it gently, almost cautiously, because waiting taught you not to assume permanence. Joy filled her home, but it was a joy shaped by intention. She did not cling blindly. She remembered the words spoken in the temple, the vow formed in tears, the peace that followed obedience. Love did not weaken her resolve, it strengthened it. Sometimes the hardest part of faith is not waiting for the blessing. It is deciding what to do once it arrives. When the child was weaned, Hannah began to prepare. Each small task felt weighty. She gathered what was needed for the journey, folding garments with care, moving slowly and thoughtfully. Elkanah watched her in silence. He understood what this meant. No persuasion was needed. Faith had already settled the matter between them. You may recognize this quiet preparation. The moment when obedience stops being theoretical and starts becoming real. The road to Shiloh looked the same, yet everything felt changed. Hannah carried Samuel in her arms, his small hands gripping her clothing, his eyes wide with curiosity. Each step brought memory and meaning together. This was the place where sorrow had once poured out unchecked. Now she returned carrying evidence of answered prayer. Sometimes God brings you back to the place of your deepest pain, not to reopen the wound, but to show you how far He has carried you. When they arrived, Hannah sought out Eli. Time had marked him further, yet recognition came quickly. She stood before him with her son beside her and spoke with steady clarity. She reminded him of the night she had knelt there, pouring out her soul. She spoke of the prayer God had answered. Then she did what she had promised. She gave Samuel to the Lord. For anyone listening who has asked God for something desperately, this moment feels impossible. Because surrender is easy to talk about until it asks for what you love most. The moment was quiet, almost ordinary to those nearby, yet heaven marked it. Hannah placed her son into Eli's care, releasing him without spectacle. Her arms felt suddenly empty. Her heart felt full. She had not lost him. She had returned him to the one who gave him. Sometimes faith looks like loss on the outside while trust fills the inside. Hannah did not collapse in grief. She did not plead for delay. Instead, she remained standing, grounded in trust. What she had received through surrender, she now surrendered again through faith. This was not weakness. It was strength refined. And maybe you are standing in a moment like this now, holding something God gave you, while sensing the quiet invitation to trust Him with it fully. That day, Hannah lifted her voice in praise. Her words flowed freely, shaped by experience rather than theory. She spoke of a God who lifts the lowly and humbles the proud. She declared that strength does not belong to the mighty alone. Her prayer became prophecy. Pain had given her clarity. Waiting had given her wisdom. Samuel remained in Shiloh, growing under Eli's care. The days shaped him quietly. He learned service before leadership, listening before speaking. His presence carried weight even in youth. Those who observed him sensed that his life held purpose beyond ordinary measure. Purpose often forms in places that feel hidden. Growth happens long before recognition arrives. Hannah returned home. Life there changed slowly, gently. Each year she returned to Shiloh with Elkanah, bringing a small robe she had sewn for Samuel. Every stitch carried prayer. Each visit reminded her that obedience continues long after the offering is made. Distance did not weaken her bond. Trust strengthened it. If you have released something into God's hands, this part matters. Obedience is not a one-time decision. It is a continuing posture. God did not forget Hannah again. In time, her home filled with children. Sons and daughters surrounded her. The laughter she once avoided now lived within her walls. The woman once mocked became a mother many times over. Yet abundance did not erase memory. Gratitude kept her grounded. Sometimes blessing multiplies, but it never replaces the lesson learned in waiting. Samuel grew. The boy who had been given back learned to hear the voice of God. In the stillness of night, that voice would one day call his name. He would rise to become prophet, judge, and guide. Through him, kings would be anointed. Through him, a nation would be shaped. Hannah's role did not fade into the background. Her faith echoed through Samuel's obedience. Her surrender shaped his calling. What began in silent tears extended into public transformation. This is how legacy works, not through visibility but through faithfulness. Looking back, Hannah understood something she could not have known in her suffering. God's silence had never meant absence. Waiting had never meant neglect. Each delay had prepared her heart for trust beyond comfort. Each tear had watered a future she could not yet see. If you are still waiting, hear this clearly. Delay does not cancel purpose. Her story became testimony. The woman once defined by absence became a witness to divine faithfulness. Her name was remembered not for what she lacked, but for what she entrusted. Hannah's life speaks quietly but clearly across generations. God hears prayers offered in honesty. He sees faith formed in waiting. He remembers those who remain faithful when answers seem distant. And through one woman's surrender, a nation found its voice. Years later, elders would recount Samuel's rise and speak of the turning points in Israel's history. Few would pause to imagine the long nights that preceded those moments. Fewer still would remember the woman whose faith had shaped them. Yet heaven never lost sight of her, and heaven has not lost sight of you. Every act of obedience unseen by crowds carries weight beyond measure. Hannah lived the remainder of her days grounded, grateful, and attentive. She taught her children to trust God with what they cherished most. She spoke of patience earned through hardship and hope sustained without evidence. Her home became a place of wisdom formed through lived experience rather than instruction. Those who knew her saw strength shaped by surrender. They witnessed joy rooted in trust rather than circumstance. Hannah did not chase recognition. Her life bore quiet fruit. Her prayers continued, now shaped by gratitude and intercession rather than longing. When stories were told around evening fires, Samuel's name often came first. His words shaped kings. His obedience guided a nation. But behind every declaration stood a mother who had learned to release control and trust God completely. Hannah's legacy endured not because she received what she asked, but because she gave back what she loved. And maybe that is the invitation for you today. This is how God moves. He listens, He waits, He answers, and He remembers. Across generations, her story whispers hope to those still waiting, assuring them that faith offered sincerely is never wasted, and obedience always carries eternal significance beyond present sight. If Hannah's story stirred something within you, consider sharing it with someone who may be waiting on God in silence. Stories like this remind us that faith, even when quiet, carries power. For more Bible stories told with depth, emotion, and meaning, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss what comes next. Thank you for listening and for walking through this story with us. Let us pray. Faithful God, you see every heart that waits in silence. You hear every prayer whispered in the dark. You remember every tear that falls unseen. For those who feel overlooked, misunderstood, or weary from waiting, grant peace that settles the soul and strength that endures. Teach us to trust you even when answers seem delayed. Help us to surrender what we hold most tightly, believing that your purposes are good and faithful. May the story of Hannah remind us that you are near, that you are listening, and that you are at work even in silence. We place our hope in you, knowing that you remember your people. Amen.